Hi, hi, hi. Happy Valentine's Day, my beautiful warriors. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm just going to make sure I am live. Okay, I can see you guys if you guys are commenting now. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Heart Day. I hope you guys are spending time with your loved ones, giving love, allowing yourself to receive love, giving yourself some love, whatever it is you need to do today to make today a great day. I hope that you guys are taking the time to do that for yourselves because you definitely deserve it. So if you guys are here with me, say hey, let me know you're joining. This training this week was a special request of a topic that was suggested to me. So I'm excited to do today's training. I hope that it is extremely helpful for anyone who can relate or is struggling with disassociation, wondering like why it's kind of happening, how can we kind of overcome it. I've got some, at least my own personal experience to share of what I feel causes disassociation, just based on, my own knowledge, experience, and research of it. And then also how I moved past it and how I kind of manage it if and when it does show up in real time today in my life, after healing, like the long-term version of it. So I hope you guys will enjoy today's training. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have any questions or if this is helpful or if everything's you're picking up what I'm putting down, if everything's making sense. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's training. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So from my experience, generally speaking, disassociation is going to happen before, during, or after a traumatic event. Okay, so I've got a story that happened to me like a little over a year ago. My daughter, she had to have a skin tag removed. Okay, so the skin tag was right at her eye. So in order for them to remove it, they had to put her to sleep. And I had already gone through a bunch of, healing and everything else. Like I was already a trauma coach, all these things, right? But disassociation can still happen. It's a protection mechanism. It is it's something to help you when you're about to go into a stress response, right? When you're about to go into fight, flight, or freeze. It is the disassociation is a mechanism to kind of soften the blow of the stress response. So it's in short term or temporary disassociation, it can actually be helpful to the psyche, right? So it's actually it's not your enemy. It's not a bad thing to disassociate, especially when it might be just temporary. So I had never seen anyone be put to sleep. I've been put to sleep myself, but I never personally seen anyone be put to sleep. And to watch my 2-year-old daughter be put to sleep was extremely traumatic. I didn't know how bad it was going to be, but going in there and watching them put her to sleep, I had to hold her. It was really hard. And I disassociated as soon as I walked to the hospital before it happened, all the way through until she was safe, right? So I was disassociating the whole time. It was a pure protection mechanism that my body had created to help me handle the stress and the fear and the worry. Because here's what happens when we disassociate. It's because something is being triggered in us that is so overwhelming that we cannot physically deal with it. We cannot cope with it. It's not time for us to digest it. It's not time for us to unravel it, understand it. So disassociation happens to protect us. Okay, so like I said, temporary or short-term disassociation in an extreme sense, or in a kind of a manner where you're going through something and you need to just kind of get through it, it can be helpful. It can be a great way to make sure that the stress response doesn't hit your body, your physical or your mental, as hard as it might. Okay, so that's a short term and a benefit to disassociation from my experience. If that makes sense, let me know. Hey Esther, so glad you are here. Yes, I'm glad you guys are watching, checking it out. I hope this is helpful so far. So now, prolonged disassociation is usually a sign of unacknowledged or unprocessed pain or trauma. So if you've got fear, if you've got overwhelming emotions, if you've got painful experiences, sexual abuse, mental, verbal, physical abuse, any type of situation that, especially if it happened when you were young or like throughout your adolescence, right? You weren't consciously developed enough to understand why it happened, what was happening and what it meant. So if it was just kind of swept under the rug, you know, they don't teach this stuff in school, nobody was telling you like how to process your emotions, how to be there for yourself, then chances are good that stuff is just kind of stored in your body. And when we have a minor stressful situation, right, we're about to be late for work, or you know, we don't want to disappoint our boss, or we don't want to disappoint our lover, or when things start to happen, then what happens is that unprocessed or that undealt with trauma and pain starts to get triggered, and it starts to surface up. And because it's so heavy, because it's so unprocessed, it's going to cause you to disassociate because it's too much for you to handle all at once. So, and then if this goes on for a prolonged period of time, if this goes on for longer and it's not dealt with, then this becomes what I like to look at as a prolonged disassociation disorder, right? And so what happens then is we start to block out memories. So here's the thing with blocking out memories or feeling like we can't remember our childhood or certain parts of our life. I felt that same way, okay? But my memories started to become more and more open when I took things down one bite-sized piece at a time. Okay. So what this means is the memories aren't being erased. The memories aren't going away. You're not literally forgetting things, but they're being covered up by layers and layers and layers of rejection. Okay. So this may be unintentional rejection, but what's happening is your body is rejecting that you went through it because it doesn't understand it. So again, it's just a protection mechanism that your body is creating. So your body is rejecting this experience instead of processing it and acknowledging it and trying to understand it and learn the lessons that were meant to be learned from it, because you might not have the coping tools to go through that process, right? So if you don't have the coping tools to break all of that down into a bite-sized piece and to learn from it and to move forward from it, then what's going to happen is we're going to reject it. We're going to resist it, and we're going to tell it to go away. And if we do that for years and years and years, we're going to inevitably forget what we originally started to push down. And it's just going to be an emotional trigger that boils over the surface, causing prolonged disassociation. So I hope this is making sense so far. Again, this is just from my own experience personally with disassociation and the research and knowledge that I have gotten on it based on my healing journey, and then the tools that I did that kind of allowed it to kind of go away for me. So with that being said, the good news about losing your memory or past trauma that you may have blacked out of your life is you don't have to remember the trauma to heal from it. I healed so many wounds without even knowing where they originated, whether they originated from this life, a past life, ancestral lineage. It doesn't matter. You don't have to remember it in order to heal it. Okay. And here's why. So I guide my clients through trauma healing by navigating their current habits and behaviors. Okay. So here, this is what I do. This is how I did it for myself. This is what I would teach you if you were to work with me, right? But these are the things that if you want to do this on your own, these are the things that I would recommend that you focus on, right? So focusing on how you spend your time, where your habits are, what your behaviors are, your productivity levels, your energy levels, figuring out how you put yourself out there. Are you showing up? Are you procrastinating things, right? Are you waiting for it to be perfect before you do it? Is there perfectionism going on? Is it hard to focus, right? These are certain habits and behaviors. These are symptoms of trauma. These are symptoms of disassociation. These are symptoms of unhealed emotions, undealt with emotions. It gathers up and it becomes lack of clarity, lack of focus, lack of energy, lack of productivity, because we cannot put something in priority, right? So that's like the first phase that I bring my clients through is how are you spending your time? What are you prioritizing? And then we start to move into the mind, right? We start to figure out like, why are you not? We start to break these things down. We start to figure out how the things are affecting you, right? We look at the symptoms, not the trauma. Okay, so looking at the symptoms, this is very important. To heal the trauma, you can't heal the trauma. The trauma is never going to change. It happened, it's in the past. You look at the symptom that the trauma has brought to you, right? The procrastination, the people pleasing, the lack of focus, the lack of energy, the mood swings, the emotional triggers, the thoughts, the beliefs that I'm not good enough, that I don't deserve this, that I can't do this, I can't do that, my memory is bad, I can't sit with myself. These are the symptoms. People will always hurt me, this, that, and the other thing. These are the symptoms that come from those painful experiences. So again, you don't have to remember those painful experiences that they originated from. You have to heal the symptoms, because you can't, it doesn't matter if you remember how aggressively abused you were. That's not going to help. That's just going to re-trigger the chemicals into your body and make you feel like you're reliving it again. But you focus on the symptoms, you isolate the symptoms, and then you go through a process to learn from it, see the message that it's trying to share with you, right? So this is how you talk to yourself. This is emotions that are not dealt with, right? So like you might have sadness, you might have resentment, you might have disappointment, you might have rage, you might have anger. These are things that need your attention, right? These are symptoms of the pain. These are symptoms of the neglect. These are symptoms of the abandonment. These are all the symptoms. You don't have to remember the things. You just have to know your symptoms. So that is where you are going to be able to heal. And when you heal the symptoms, the disassociation is able to go away or lessen, or only come when it is absolutely necessary, like right when your kid's got to go to surgery or something's happening and it's a protective thing, right? So disassociation, we don't want disassociation to go away. It protects you in a stress response. The thing that we want is to not disassociate all the time. The only reason we're disassociating all the time is because we have unhealed inner child. We have unhealed emotions. We have unhealed negative self-thought, negative self-talk, beliefs, thoughts about ourselves, thoughts about our life, thoughts about what we're capable of. These are the symptoms of the trauma. These are the symptoms that cause the disassociation for protection, because they haven't been dealt with. Prolonged disassociation is just happening because we have unhealed, unacknowledged, unprocessed emotional damage, inner child wounds. We have these things that need to be acknowledged, that need to be processed, that need to be worked through, so that the disassociation can only be here when it's meant to be here, not all the time, not living in it. Hey Shay, how are you? So glad you guys are here. I hope this is helpful so far. I hope you guys are making sense of everything. And this has been helpful, and you guys are getting everything so far. So the other things that you might want to navigate are your energy centers. Your energy centers are your chakras. Your chakras hold memory. They hold it into your eternal organs. They hold it into your psyche. They hold it everywhere. So again, you don't have to remember what happened, but it affects your energy centers, right? So it affects your self-esteem. It might affect your ability to trust yourself. It might affect your ability to feel safe and secure in your world. It might affect your ability to feel joyful. It might affect your ability to have faith, or to believe that you will be taken care of, or that the world is going to be just fine. You might have trouble expressing yourself, your thoughts, your needs, your emotions. You might not be, you might pretend to be okay externally, but internally it's not okay with you. Having trouble setting those boundaries, right? You might have trouble forgiving yourself, right? You might beat yourself up or feel hard on yourself, or think you've done the worst, or even have trouble letting go of what others have done, letting go of past pain, right? So these are all symptoms of trauma, and they get stored in your energy centers. And when those energy centers or those things get triggered, the self-esteem, the trusting yourself, the safety, the joy, or the lack of, when all of that gets triggered, the disassociation kicks in, because you don't have the tools to go through and unlearn, to unravel, to process, to acknowledge what needs to be processed and what needs to be acknowledged. So the disassociation will kick on to keep you safe, so that you don't go into a heart attack or cardiac arrest, because the stress response would be so big from all of the overwhelmed emotions that haven't been dealt with, haven't been identified, haven't been nourished and reparented and nurtured back to health, right? There's so many things that when we're in disassociation for so long, it is literally because it's protecting your heart. Stress is going to go straight to the heart. And if you are going to feel a bunch of stress all at once, and the body knows that, the spirit knows that, you will disassociate before, during, and after the event. If it goes undealt with, unprocessed, unacknowledged, If you don't process those emotions, if you're not there for yourself, if you're not parenting your inner child, if you're not nurturing yourself through it, then it will turn into long-term disassociation because it's so much emotional overwhelm, pain, and stress that's not processed, and you can't process it all at once. So the disassociation kicks in to protect you, right? And then it turns into long-term disassociation. It turns into lack of focus, lack of energy, lack of memory. All of these things are the symptom of the thing, right? So I hope this is making sense. I hope that you guys can understand like the benefit of a temporary disassociation. It's not a bad guy. It's not an enemy. It's not something that you necessarily want to go away. It is protection. It is to help soften the blow of a stress response, to protect the heart, right? And then the long-term disassociation is just a good sign that there is unprocessed trauma. There's unacknowledged trauma, you know, and where you can look is your current habits, your current behaviors, your focus levels, your clarity levels. Do you trust yourself, your self-esteem? Do you feel safe and secure in your world? Are you joyful? Are you pessimistic, right? Are you optimistic or pessimistic? Are you faithful? Do you have faith in yourself, in the universe, that everything's going to be just fine? Can you express yourself? Do you forgive yourself and others easily? Do you have positive or negative self-talk? How do you treat your inner child? These are all keys of how to heal the symptoms of the trauma. You don't have to heal the trauma. The trauma is not going to be healed, right? The trauma is always going to, it's part of your life experience. To live with your trauma and to make sure that the damage does no longer control you, you heal the symptoms, right? I hope that this is making sense. I hope that this is helpful for you guys. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear if you guys have any questions, if this made sense. I hope you guys took some notes. I hope that this was helpful. And if there's any way that I can help you guys go through any of this or understand this, I'd love to. I offer a free tarot reading for group members. So it helps you discover like, what do you need to focus on so that you can heal? What really needs your attention? Where do you need to start? How can you move forward? And where is the first place you should start? Like, where should you begin and how can you move forward, right? So if you want some guidance, this is a free reading that I provide to group members. So if you would like the reading, comment reading below, and I'll make sure that we chat about the reading. If this might be helpful to help you figure out like what you might need to process or what you might need to give some attention to so that you can get out of these states and heal your symptoms, right? If you would like some additional personalized guidance, I would love to do that. So if you want a reading, please comment reading and we'll get that scheduled. I hope that this training was helpful. I hope that it will resonate for some of you guys. If people can relate to the disassociation, I hope this really kind of opens some perspective and give you guys some things to think about for your healing journey. And so yes, Cindy, we can do a card reading. I will definitely message you. I'm excited to do the reading for you. I hope it will be helpful and move you forward. So again, that is a no charge reading. It's for group members. I want to help you guys start your healing journey and help you get moving. I don't want you to be stuck forever. I don't want you to live in these routines. I don't want you to be stuck in these patterns and these circles. I want to help. That's what I'm here for. I feel like that's my mission in life. That's my purpose here. I want to help all of you guys. I love all of you guys. I appreciate all of you for spending time with me, especially on Valentine's Day. I feel your love. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today, whether you're here live or you're catching the replay. I appreciate you spending your time. Yes, Cindy, thank you for being here. Yes, I will give you the reading. I don't want to mispronounce your name. Rafe. I hope I said that right. Yes, I will message you for the reading, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's training. This is all I have for you. So if you guys missed it, again, the things that I kind of touched on is temporary disassociation versus long-term disassociation, what causes it, and what are the symptoms of it, and how can you start to heal it so that it goes away. And again, it's not going to go away forever. Again, it's a protection mechanism. You don't want the temporary disassociation to go away. It's a protection. It protects you. But the long term that affects your memory, your focus, your energy, all these things. We talked about how, like, the different things the symptoms of trauma that you can heal so that you can move forward. And if you want some personalized guidance, comment the word reading and we'll make sure that we do that. Okay. So that's all I've got for you guys. If you guys need anything, just let me know. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's training, and I'll see you guys next week.